Fighting games, man. Fighting games. In my opinion, they're some of the hardest games to review because I never know which way to approach them. Do you look at how much they provide for single player content? Do you look at how much they provide for multiplayer content? Do you look at both? I don't know. Fighting games are really tough. And ARMS is definitely a fighting game. It may be unlike any other fighting game we've seen as far as how the characters work and, like, you know, their weird arms and stuff like that. But, you know, core mechanics, this is a fighting game without a doubt. So I'm going to tell you how I feel about it as far as fighting games go, and, you know, my experiences with it, and overall if I had a good time or not. Let's start off with the great stuff. ARMS is without a doubt a AAA effort from Nintendo. From top to bottom, this is a quality experience. The game is gorgeous looking. It has all those Nintendo touches that you love. It just feels like a Nintendo game. The way characters move, the way characters animate, the little aspects of backstory, and all those little things that you really love from Nintendo are very present here. The game plays really well. It just feels good. It just feels like a high quality experience, something you expect from one of Nintendo's top tier efforts. So without a doubt, you're gonna get a high bar of quality in ARMS. A lot of the fun in the game is finding not only the character you want to play as, your main character, but also the arms that you want to go with, because there's all different types of arms to unlock. As you've seen, characters have their main arms that you can pick right off the bat, but then you unlock other ones through the arms getter and stuff like that. And then, you know, the mix of the right character for you and the arms that they use can be a real difference maker when you're playing. If you're struggling to take down an opponent on a higher CPU level or something like that, it might be you need to change up your character, or it might be you need a different set of arms. You could go from having an absolutely ridiculously tough time trying to take someone down to no problem just with the switch of certain arms types. So finding those abilities and finding what works for you is a lot of fun. And depending on, you know, what circumstance you're in, you might take a different approach. You might go one way when you're fighting the computer, you might go another way when you're fighting online, and you might go another way still when you're playing in person. But all those combinations, all those mixes and matches of the different content that's there and the different characters is fun. It's a lot of fun to sift through that stuff and see what works best for you in whatever circumstances you're taking on. ARMS also adds in a really unique wrinkle to fighting games that I haven't really seen in any other fighting game that I've played. I've played definitely a good amount over the years, and in most of those you punch and you kick and that's that. You'll throw some fireballs and there's some timing in there, but with ARMS what really matters is the time from when you throw your punch to when it actually lands, because there's a decent amount of time in there depending on the spacing of your characters, and that can completely change the layout of the match. And also, when you're doing those punches, there's a lot to be done. It's not just like throwing the punch and that's all there is to it. You throw your punch and you can weave in and out with your arms. You can move them left and right as they're flying towards your opponent. You can do one to the left and one to the right, both straight, one to the left, you know, all over the place. So it's kind of like psyching out your opponent. You start punching in a certain way and then you throw them a literal curve that you hope they're not expecting. And it's a really unique mind game that you play. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, except instead of rock, paper, scissors, it's left, right, straight. And then, you know, depending on what arms you have in there, it's different as well. But just the mechanic of wiggling your arms, but not, you know, just like with a waggle on a Wiimote. This is like very calculated movements, how you're trying to squirm your way in to land a punch on your opponent. It's a mind game, and obviously there's some layer to that when you're playing the computer, but that element comes out way more when you're playing against people either online or in real life. And I really like that little mind game, because as you're playing during matches, you'll do something and maybe your opponent will catch on to it, and then you try and psych him out with something else. And then as the match progresses or as the rounds go on, you adapt to what they're doing and you change up what you're doing as well. Now obviously that plays into any fighting game where you can't just spam kicks and punches here, but the idea of how you move your arms to land them on the opponent, I really like that. I really find that interesting. All those arms mind games tie into the character you pick, which I touched on earlier, but the characters that are available are definitely unique and fresh and visually striking, feel very varied, and each character is going to provide at least a couple things that are different from other characters out there. So you'll take time sifting through those to find what you want, and then you'll have your game. You'll find your character, your main, and then you'll get down to the more minor details of how to work through opponents and how to take on real-life opponents and stuff like that. I ended up sticking with Master Mummy after trying quite a few of the characters for a while. I don't know, I just really liked Master Mummy. I didn't think I would, because usually in fighting games, I don't like the heavy characters or the big characters. They don't resonate with me. I like the quicker, smaller characters. But here, Master Mummy really seemed to get the job done for me. And once I settled in on that character and then found the arms that I liked for him, the game became even more fun for me because I had something that I thought really worked well for me and I felt I could get the job done with. So, you know, as you're working through that, you might be like, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked. I can't find something that works for me, but you got to stick with it and give every character a shot. And then eventually you'll find something that works for you, and that's when the game really starts to click. That's when it becomes a lot of fun. Now this is where it becomes difficult to review the game. ARMS is a fighting game, and much like many other fighting games out there, there's not a lot of single-player content. There are a couple modes, I mean, you guys have seen them already, but the fun you're going to have from this game is going to be the competitive aspect. You're not going to play against the computer forever. You may run through Grand Prix mode a few times to earn some coins to unlock stuff and you know, challenge a higher level computer, but eventually you're going to be done with that stuff, and that's where you're going to have to figure out what ARMS means to you. If you are picking up ARMS based on your expectations of playing online and playing local multiplayer, then you should be totally fine with this. You should be extremely happy because you know what you're getting. I mean, especially if you've been playing the Global Test Punch, you know how the game runs online and you know what the experience is like. So then you know what you're getting into. If you are looking for a single-player heavy experience, ARMS definitely is not going to be that. Like I said, you have Grand Prix and there's reasons to go in and unlock stuff, like different arms and stuff like that. But this isn't a game you're going to keep coming back to play the single-player. For me, there's only been a very, very, very few fighting games where I kept going back to do single player, or there was a large single player component that kept me engaged for quite some time. Look at something like Injustice, for example. Like, I played Injustice single player mode. I haven't played the sequel yet. I played the single player mode in that with friends and I loved it, and when we were done with the single player stuff, because there's such a meaty story in that game, a really cool story mode, I thought. When I was done with that, I was like, well, I feel like my money was justified in that. If that was the only content that was in the game, I wouldn't have been upset because I had such a great time with that. And even with Splatoon, like, I know Splatoon it's not a fighting game, obviously, but the focus in that game is multiplayer. But the single-player mode, the hero mode in Splatoon, I absolutely adored. I had such a blast with that. And again, if I only had that content, I would have came away a happy customer. But, you know, the focus there, both with Injustice and Splatoon, is multiplayer. And the focus here with ARMS is multiplayer. It's just that ARMS doesn't have any sort of, you know, real robust single-player content or any real reason to keep coming back to it other than just to unlock stuff, which I would imagine will get tiresome for some people. So, as long as you know why you're buying it, like I said, as long as you're cool with multiplayer and that's your reason for playing, local multiplayer or online, then ARMS should be an easy purchase for you. If you're looking for something to keep you interested for a long time and you're not looking to play online or you don't have people to play with locally, ARMS is a tough sell. Now, obviously, I've played ARMS online and local multiplayer. You guys have played it online through the Global Test Punch. We know how that works. We know everything functions fine. It'll be interesting to see how the servers are able to keep up when the game actually comes out. But by and large, it seems like everything's okay. but I've certainly played more time local multiplayer just because I happen to be more of a fan of local multiplayer. Nothing against online, it's just I prefer to play with friends locally, and I'm lucky enough to have a group of friends that actually want to play. So I've poured a ton of time into local multiplayer, and I can tell you, it's a blast. I love it. If you heard my impressions, you heard how into it I was, and that's only continued since then. I enjoy the local multiplayer in ARMS so much because having the other person in the same room that you're actually battling against, it just feels more fun. It's more visceral. It helps me get into it more. And seeing how my real-life friends react to the battles that are going on is a lot of fun. And you see as the day goes on, as the matches continue, how they learn, how they adapt, how they progress, how they find what characters they like and what arms they want. And it's a lot of fun. It gave me like a Smash Brothers vibe, and I've been playing Smash Brothers for a million years now. And obviously, ARMS is a little bit different because we're playing with motion controls, and we could play Smash Brothers for hours and hours and hours on end. But when we're playing ARMS with motion controls, after a couple hours, we're like, all right, we need a break. And I don't mean that as a knock at all. I mean, that's a blast for me. I have a lot of fun, and I can certainly use the exercise, so that's another bonus. But yeah, it's a mode we keep coming back to and will keep coming back to because it's just so much fun. Because when you're playing, you learn some new things, you see how your opponent works, and you're like, okay, I know how to handle them next time. And then you get together a couple days later and you give it another go, and you're like, oh, they've been thinking about this too. They've been considering how to counter what I've been doing and stuff like that. So local multiplayer, especially when you have a good group of people around, is so much fun. So I'm going to get a lot of mileage out of ARMS from the multiplayer. I imagine a lot of people will get a lot of mileage out of the game in multiplayer when it comes to online. But either way, if you are multiplayer focused, man, is the game a lot of fun. It just, so far, and obviously I haven't had months and months with the game, but so far, I haven't gotten tired of it. I'm always interested to get back in because I feel like each match is really unique and offers a lot of differences in between each one. And some other fighting games I feel are pretty much the same thing when you go in and play, but there's just something about ARMS where I feel like each match you don't know what's going to happen because there's so many different ways you can throw your arms out there that you never really know what's coming. And I like that. It makes multiplayer a lot of fun. Like I said, we've been playing motion controls just because that's the way we prefer, and I really like it. I think the motion controls are spot on, and they add a really unique level to the game. I feel like I don't enjoy ARMS as much when I'm playing motion controls, but I'm very glad that the other control options are there. I've certainly tried them, and you know, playing with a Switch Pro controller has its ups and downs. It works perfectly fine, but for me, it's hard to play motion controls and then go back to a traditional controller because I feel somewhat limited. I just like being able to stand up and actually throwing my arms out there and just, I don't know, it feels more organic to me. But I know a lot of people are going to be interested in using traditional controls, and they certainly work completely fine. The Switch Pro controller, the Joy-Con and the grip, those are both excellent. Obviously, if you're going just a single Joy-Con, it's going to be a little bit different. You're probably not going to come away with the best experience, but that option is there, so you choose how you want to play. That's what the important thing is. You choose what works best for you. If you want to go motion controls, go motion controls. If you don't have any interest in motion controls and you want traditional controller, that option's there too. So thankfully everything that is there works, and you'll find one that works the best for you, and that's what's important. The options are there, so you just pick what makes you comfortable. ARMS is such a unique experience. It's definitely a fighting game, but there's plenty of ways that it's not a fighting game, but at its very core level, it is a fighting game. So there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of fighting games to have released over the years. And whatever applies to previous fighting games as far as longevity also applies here. So that's the real point I have to drive home in this review. If you're looking for single player, I can't really recommend ARMS. If you're looking for multiplayer, I can extremely recommend ARMS. Outside of recommending it for the content, the game itself is top-notch. It's high quality, it's very well made, it's super endearing and engaging, it plays well, it feels good, it sounds great. Everything about it is super high quality, which, you know, I don't think is all that surprising from Nintendo. And they're really trying to make something new and original here, and I really can appreciate that. I really like that. It's not something we've really seen Nintendo do. I mean, look at Splatoon. That was something new for them, and now we have ARMS, something new for them as well. It's more in line with traditional fighting games, even though it may not look like it at first glance. But that's what it is. So, it's a fighting title. As long as you know what you're getting, then I don't think you'll have any complaints. But yes, please make sure you know what you want before you go in to make the purchase. As long as you know that, you should come out extremely pleased with ARMS. I know I'm really enjoying it. I know I will for a long time. And with the promise of extra content coming out, especially for free, I'm really looking forward to see what happens with ARMS a couple months from now, a year from now. I'm hoping Nintendo turns it into a really big esports scene. I hope they continue to push it. I hope fans catch on with it. So if you're a fighting game fan, I heavily recommend ARMS. I think you'll really be into it. And like I said, don't let the motion controls scare you off. I think they work really well. But if they're not your thing, you can go traditional controls. So, fighting game fans, check this game out. I really recommend it. If you're looking for single player, this isn't going to be the one for you. Hey guys, RMC here from Go Nintendo. If you like what you saw in the video, why don't you give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe? We'd love to have you. If you want to see what else we're up to, you can check out GoNintendo.com for 24-hour Nintendo news. You can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/GoNintendo. You can check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/GoNintendoTweet. And we're even over on Instagram at instagram.com/GoNintendo. I put all the links in the description just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Thanks a lot.